Things got right back to normal here on Brad Carroll's Game Day as me and the Evil One both were over 500. Anthony Delacalci over here, under 500, back on Loser Island.
I don't know what happened. I thought I was on a good streak, and then I hit a wall.
Now what happened? You shaved the goatee, you got the hair trimmed, you put on a lot of weight. What's going on, Anthony?
It's a movie role. I'm going to star as a Hokie who's succeeding in life from Virginia Tech.
Well, we know that's absolutely not possible. Have you ever heard of a Virginia Tech that's rich and famous? No, absolutely not. It's not going to start with you.
Generic Virginia Tech compliment.
This is Brad Carroll's Game Day. Start things off with a Friday night matchup, the Pac-12 Championship. UCLA goes into number 9 Oregon. Not many people expected the Bruins to be in this game, but here they are at 6-6. Guess what? If they lose this game, they go home for the season. If they win, they go to the Rose Bowl.
This cannot be the game that the Pac-12 envisioned to be the inaugural Pac-12 Championship game, but like you said, Oregon was expected to be here. UCLA only here because USC is on the second year of their 2-year postseason ban. They won that side of the conference. UCLA came in second. Now they're here, but this is a game where Oregon has all of the tools offensively to blow them out of the water, averaging over 290 yards on the ground, 277 through the air. I don't see the Bruins stopping the Ducks in this one.
Yeah, UCLA is coming off a 50-0 loss to Southern Cal last week. Oregon, the only question here is can they win by as many points as the point spread is? 32 points. That's a whole lot. UCLA, they've already fired their coach, Rick Neuheisel, but he will coach this game. You got to ask yourselves, will the Bruins play for their coach and themselves as well as they can go to a BCS game?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big question, but either way, I don't see any way that the Ducks don't blow them out of the water. Their offense is too explosive. I see Oregon winning it big this time, 49-14.
Yeah, Oregon, like we said, minus 32. I got them winning it 50-20. Before we get to the Conference USA Championship game, I'm going to take a moment to introduce the new member of the crew, Joe Fortunato. He's going to be in this seat for the rest of the season. Welcome aboard.
It's nice to be here. Thank you. Anthony Delacalci moved on to greener pastures, but he didn't leave the biggest shoes to fill, and I think I'll do a good job with it.
Well, it's good to hear some confidence from the new guy, and what better time to come aboard? Championship week.
Yeah, it's fun. We have some great matchups. Nothing better than Brad Carroll's Game Day during championship weeks.
There you go. A confident team, number 6 Houston, takes on number 24 Southern Miss in the Conference USA Championship game. Houston, if they win this game, they're going to go to their first ever BCS bowl game. That's huge for that program. Even bigger in this game, Case Keenum could solidify his chances at winning the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, we're going to have a conversation down the line on whether or not Houston is a real 6 or a fake 6 based on the competition they've played this year. This week is not the time for that argument, though, because they're playing a CUSA foe. Houston is first in the country in 3 different offensive categories: total yards, total passing yards, and points scored. I don't see any way they don't roll over Southern Miss in this one.
Yeah, now Southern Miss is a good football team. They're ranked number 24. They will not roll over, I don't think, against Houston. Although, like you said, Houston has a great offense. Southern Miss is going to have their hands full. Who wins the game?
I think Case Keenum, who has 43 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. You didn't hear me wrong. That's a 40-touchdown differential. I think he's the difference in this one. Houston is going to win it 42-21.
Yeah, Houston minus 13 in this game. I got them winning it 42-24. It may be championship week around the country, but the Big 12 still has a couple of big regular season matchups, including this one. Number 22 Texas goes into number 17 Baylor. This one could be all about Robert Griffin III, the quarterback for Baylor. He wants to make his case for the Heisman Trophy. He's going to have to do it against a tough Texas defense.
Yeah, the Texas defense has kind of gotten them through this season thus far, and Baylor is one of those really cool Cinderella-ish teams. They came in, they beat TCU, then they beat Oklahoma. Robert Griffin III has 34 touchdowns this year. He's playing out of his head, but can he play that way against Texas? That's going to be the question.
Yeah, he struggled a bit against really good teams, except for when he played Oklahoma, the biggest game of his career, and he shined in that one. He could have another big one in this one. It's going to be tough, though.
The question about Baylor is their defense. How does their defense stack up against other teams? Texas doesn't have the best offense, though. You're not going to find a player on their offense with over 1,000 yards. That's surprising. I think Baylor gets through this one 24-21.
Yeah, Baylor, they're minus 2.5 in this one. They win it 38-31. This next game might not be called the Big 12 Championship, but in every right it is. Number 10 Oklahoma goes into number 3 Oklahoma State. We all know what's riding on this game for Oklahoma State. If they can beat Oklahoma big in this game, they might just leapfrog number 2 Alabama and make it to the BCS Championship game. Easier said than done.
It is easier said than done.
Oh, guys. There's some new blood now. It looks like Anthony tried to cheat one too many times and he was finally called red-handed. So it should come as no surprise that the NCAA came down hard, issuing the death penalty. So finally, we won't have to hear or see Anthony and his mullet anymore. But Brad, I see you've already found another schmo to replace him, some guy named Joe. And by his analysis so far, I just have to ask, Brad, were you that desperate that you just grabbed the first person you saw on your walk to work? Anyway, I guess we'll see if you can handle the heat from the evil one week to week. Good luck, kid. Now on to my picks. Oregon minus 32, Virginia Tech minus 7, Wisconsin minus 9.5, LSU minus 14, Houston minus 13, Baylor minus 2.5, and my game of the week, it's Bedlam's number 10 Oklahoma travels to take on number 3 Oklahoma State. This game is all about Oklahoma State. If the Cowboys beat Oklahoma handily, they could bounce Alabama out of the number 2 spot and play LSU for the BCS National Championship. Brandon Weeden will have to play the best game of his career, and I think he and the Cowboys will do it. Oklahoma State wins it 48-21.
Wow, well, that's a big pick by the evil one. He gave you some good luck wishes.
You know, I gotta be honest with you, being on the other side of that, it's pretty annoying that he just jumps in like that. We're up here trying to do a show, he just barges in with his analysis. But I do have to say, I agree with him about the importance of this game. We can talk all we want about Oklahoma State having to blow Oklahoma out of the water, and they have the offense to do it. Weeden and Blackman are two of the best players in college football. The two have combined for 1,200 yards and 15 touchdowns. The big question in this one, can Oklahoma State's defense keep Oklahoma far enough away that they can blow them out? I don't know if that's going to be the case.
That's a huge task. We know how good Oklahoma State's offense is. Oklahoma, just as good. They have Landry Jones, who was a dark horse Heisman candidate. He's kind of fallen off the map a little bit. They're going to give the Oklahoma State defense a lot of fits. This one's not going to be easy for Oklahoma State. We all know they have to not only win, but win big. That's the only focus that Oklahoma State can have. Win the Big 12 championship, all right, that's good, but they want to play for bigger things.
They do want to play for bigger things, and you always have to be careful because when a team is trying too hard, sometimes they tend to make mistakes. Oklahoma State's defense cannot afford to make mistakes in this one. They're really going to have to get ahead early and often and hold on to that lead. I think it's going to be a close game, but I do think Oklahoma State is going to take it 31-28.
Yeah, Oklahoma State in this game, they're minus 3.5. They're going to win it 38-28. This next game features two teams heading in opposite directions. The ACC Championship features number 5 Virginia Tech against number 20 Clemson. We all know the struggles that Clemson's had recently. They've lost 3 out of 4, including a humiliating defeat at North Carolina State and a big loss last week to South Carolina. Virginia Tech, they're looking for revenge from an earlier defeat to Clemson.
They did lose to Clemson earlier in the year, but this is not the same Clemson team that beat Virginia Tech. This is a team that suddenly can't find its game really on either side of the ball. The two sides, it's interestingly enough, do play kind of opposite offenses. Virginia Tech loves to run the ball. They don't like to pass the ball that much. Clemson loves to pass. They don't like to run. Virginia Tech has a lot of weapons, though. David Wilson is 1,600 yards and 9 touchdowns on the ground. The big threat for Clemson is Sammy Watkins, who has 1,000 yards receiving and 10 touchdowns. I still think Virginia Tech is too much to handle in this one.
Yeah, it's funny. Earlier this season, I picked Clemson to upset Virginia Tech as huge underdogs going on the road, and they came through for me. This week, I give Clemson absolutely no chance. Who wins it?
I think Virginia Tech is going to win it, and the main reason is because Clemson's a down team right now. They don't have a lot of confidence in themselves. Virginia Tech has won 7 games in a row. They're very confident in themselves. They take this one 35-24.
Yeah, Virginia Tech's minus 7 in this game. They win it 27-16.
Now that Mullet Boy's gone, it's time to wipe the slate clean and implement something bigger. Penthouse, that's not big enough. So instead, I'm giving away the keys to the entire mansion. And this week, it goes to Michigan, who won one of the greatest rivalries in college football over Ohio State. Michigan had lost this game 7 years in a row. They came in this year, they won it. Now they're 10-2. Michigan, here are the keys to the mansion.
There's no team other than Clemson that deserves to be in the doghouse this week. Clemson, you've been absolutely terrible. You've lost 3 out of your last 4 games. You lost an embarrassing defeat at the hands of North Carolina State. You got killed by South Carolina last week. I don't know what's happened to you. If you remember, I had you guys going to the BCS National Championship. Boy, was I a fool. Clemson, get in the doghouse. This next championship game also features a rematch of a regular season matchup. The Big Ten Championship, number 15 Wisconsin takes on number 13 Michigan State. This one, we all remember their battle from earlier this season when Michigan State beat Wisconsin on a Hail Mary pass in the final seconds to knock Wisconsin out of the national title race. Now, Wisconsin gets their chance for revenge.
They do get their chance for revenge, and it's actually funny. These are two what-if teams. If Michigan State doesn't lose an early game to Notre Dame, they could have been in national title contention, and Wisconsin doesn't lose that game to Michigan State, they probably would have been as well. They were favorites at the beginning of the year, so this is an interesting matchup between these two teams. Right now, Wisconsin, a dominant offense, led, of course, by Russell Wilson. He's got tons of touchdowns, both through the air and on the ground. He's a very good quarterback, and right now, I just don't think Michigan State's defense can stop them.
Yeah, Wisconsin does things right on both sides of the ball, and they got a very good offense. Michigan State, they got a good defense, subpar offense. This one's going to be a close one, though.
I do think it's going to be close, but I think Wilson is one of the top players in the country right now. He's mad that they lost that game. This was his opportunity to title game. He's not going to get it, so he's going to take it out on Michigan State. I think that they're going to win it 35-24.
Yeah, Wisconsin, they're minus 9.5 in this game. I got them winning a close one, 33-28. Finally, a huge matchup in the SEC Championship game. Number 1 LSU takes on number 14 Georgia. This one features two of the hottest teams in the nation. LSU, we all know they're clearing away the number 1 team in the nation. Georgia, very hot right now. They've won 9 in a row. They're going to look to make it 10.
They are, but it's going to be a very difficult test because they're going up against one of the most battle-tested teams in the country. LSU has beaten the number 2 and number 3 teams just the past couple of weeks. They're doing everything you want a real number 1 team to do. They have a very stingy defense, a very solid offense. It's going to be tough for Georgia.
Yeah, Jordan Jefferson, the new starting quarterback for LSU. He was the starter last year. He has that offense more of an explosive right now than the former starter, Jarrett Lee. LSU, they got the things rolling on both sides of the ball. Georgia, they lost their first 2 games of the season, won 9 in a row. They're rolling right at the right time. Interesting to note, the last 5 winners of this game have won the BCS National Championship. Look to make it 6.
That's a big prize for a game like this. Jefferson has done a really good job this year getting LSU back on the map offensively, averaging 38 points a game. They're only giving up 10.6 points a game. Now, Georgia's numbers are relatively comparable. They're giving up 17 points a game. They're averaging 34. The question is, can they get over that LSU defense?
Yeah, and as everyone knows who watches this thing, Georgia, I never trust them in a big spot. We talked a little bit about it. If LSU loses this game, they could still work their way into the BCS Championship game. They've done everything you can ask for them. They've beaten Oregon. They've beaten Alabama. They've beaten Arkansas. Everyone put in front of them, they knocked down. Can they get there with a loss here?
It might be tough to trust Georgia in a game like this, but I don't think you can find a team that you can trust going up against LSU right now. That's why I think LSU is just going to take this one 35-14.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good pick, Joe. LSU minus 14 in this one. They win it 35-17. For all of us here at Brad Carroll's Game Day, for Evan Mason behind the camera, for Craig Carroll, the even one, for Joe Fortunato, the new guy, I'm Brad Carroll. We'll see you